I'm super excited. I have one of our outreach specialists, Rebekah, is here with me today. Rebekah, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Awesome. We're super excited because we love Christmas. And so this is a really fun webinar to jump into and really thinking about a lot of the cool things that God has in store for your church and your community over the Christmas season. So we're looking specifically at 5 ways to maximize your Christmas ministry. And we're going to talk about one thing that you need to absolutely avoid. And really, we're going to kind of switch it up this time because I'm going to start with the one thing to avoid because I think that's something that we just really need to kick into right here from the start. So one thing that you absolutely must avoid, and this is for you as a pastor, your entire leadership team, your staff, your key volunteers, everyone who's engaged in your church, you all need to avoid this one thing, and that is that believing Christmas attendance is guaranteed. Now, a lot of times we think, oh, Christmas, Easter, yeah, we're going to have people show up. And you'll have some people show up, but we live in a time now where that big Christmas push with people just naturally and culturally attending church at Christmas time is waning. You know, it's not happening quite as much. In fact, I was just reading a study recently that about half of the people who were polled in the U.S. say they have no intention of going to any church to celebrate Christmas. And that statistic has actually moved over the last 3 or 4 years, has kept dropping by about 1% a year. And that trend is continuing. It's even getting a little more aggressive. So we can't just take it for granted that people are going to go to church on Christmas. And so that means that you can't just think that it's the attendance, the boost in attendance is guaranteed. You can't think that people walking through your doors, new people walking through your doors is just going to happen. It means you have to be intentional when it comes to Christmas. So that's the one thing you need to avoid. You need to share it with your team, think through this, and then you want to strategically and prayerfully plan on how you can reach new people for the Christmas season, because it is an awesome time for people to come to the church and to hear about the birth of Christ, right? So it's an awesome time to introduce people to Jesus, and Christmas is something that pretty much everyone in the U.S. is interested in. I just read another study that said most people are planning on celebrating Christmas in the U.S. I mean, it's still a huge, huge percentage. So with people celebrating Christmas, and the fact that the church, your church, has a unique opportunity to help them celebrate Christmas, this is a beautiful way for you to really connect and really maximize, right?
Right, yes.
Awesome. Well, let's get started in these 5 ways to maximize, because this is a lot of fun strategy, a lot of things, again, to think through, plan through, and again, be intentional about. So the very first one is prepare for guests openly and emphatically. And the reason I say emphatically is because you want to make it very, very clear that you are a church that is expecting for new people to walk through your doors. This is important not only for the new people who will be walking through your doors, but this is just as important for the people who are already a part of your church. You need to be helping them get in the mindset that you are indeed a church for others, right? That the people who are far from God in your community are valuable to you. They're important to God. They're important to you as a church. So you want to be preparing for guests. Now, Rebekah, what are some different ways that churches can think about as they're moving into the Christmas season to kind of prepare and make sure they're ready for new people coming through the doors?
Well, I think that everyone has heard of things like spring cleaning, but when you're thinking of Christmas, it's such a big part of the year that really, especially families, prepare for all year. You want to make sure that church is tidy, things that might slip through the cracks or things that might be easily overlooked. It's the easiest thing, but it's super important. And then you just want to make sure that whether it's someone who has come to your church for 5, 10, 15 years, or someone who's only been there for 5, 10, 15 minutes, you want to make sure that the church is inviting. You want to make sure that those ushers are ready for that Merry Christmas. Even if it's, December 2nd, we're ready for Christmas. We're happy to have you here. And I think you'll talk more about that later, especially. But really just making sure that environment is as prepared as possible, as in welcoming, and on theme, especially.
Awesome, definitely. Yeah, I think about it like this. We all have guests or friends come over to our homes for dinner, or we're getting ready for Thanksgiving here, not too far out. So think about you're inviting people over for Thanksgiving. You want to make sure that your home is tidy, as you mentioned, Rebekah, prepared and welcoming for those people coming through your doors, right? So you want to think about the same thing as your church, right? So you want your church to be all those things that Rebekah said. And you want to think about what are some ways that you can really help people who walk through your doors feel like you were expecting them, feel like you were anticipating their arrival. And so you mentioned, this idea of kind of having things themed. Oftentimes we decorate for Christmas, right? It's a great time. So think about how you're going to be decorating your church for Christmas, how you can have a consistent theme, a welcoming theme around your Advent messages, your Christmas message, so that it feels like you were intentional. You were thinking about people coming through these doors and not like it was just something tossed together. So that's important. The other thing is, as a pastor, what we always looked at every time we were coming into Easter season or Christmas season especially were our children's ministry areas. Because think about it, you're going to have new families coming through your doors probably for the very first time. They're going to have their kids with them. They're going to be taking them down to your children's ministry area, your nursery, checking their kids in. And you want that to have a really fresh feel. Again, you want to be intentional, not like it's an afterthought. You want to kind of lead with that. So there are lots of different ways that you can freshen up, very inexpensively freshen up your nursery area, your children's areas. There's awesome resources like here at Outreach we have for you. That's super, super cool. Maybe you've seen them, the cool kind of stick-ups. They're awesome things. You can transform your space literally in an afternoon. So freshen up the paint. Make sure if you have carpets in that areas, this is the time to have your carpets cleaned, guys. Just very simple things. Like Rebekah said, you want to tidy up. You want to be prepared as if you're having guests come through the doors. So think about how you can freshen up your kids' area, how you can work with your ushers, your greeters, your hospitality team, help them be prepared to welcome people, clean things up, tidy things up, and again, just create a welcoming environment for people coming through those doors. So
right. Especially if you have those, if you have a guest center, welcoming desk, paying special attention to that team and giving them kind of a crash course of what they should be prepared for. Christmas it's a lot like Easter, where it's going to be a big influx of guests, and we don't want those guests to be one-timers. We don't want those guests to be, I come for Christmas only, or I come for just Easter and Christmas. Kind of having a crash course and paying special attention to those volunteers within the church and giving them a special preparation and giving them that extra confidence to welcome these guests and what you're giving them and what theme you have so they can represent that theme when they come in that Sunday morning. Those little things can really add up to a successful Christmas service.
Definitely. That's awesome, Rebekah. Good stuff. So number one, prepare for guests openly, publicly. Let everyone know you're preparing for guests, and emphatically, don't let it be a guessing game. You want to do this in front of your entire church and get your entire church on board, because that's going to shift their mindset and their hearts, thinking about who is it that God's laying on their heart to invite to Christmas or Advent season or to your church, right? So that kind of leads us into number two. Number two is get personal. And when I say get personal, what I'm talking about is the power of a personal invitation. Study after study after study, year after year after year, still demonstrates that a personal invitation, like someone inviting a family member or a friend or a coworker or a classmate, a neighbor, that personal invitation is still the most powerful thing to help someone who is not in the church or is far from God or might be seeking or searching to actually walk through the doors and become part of a church family. So super important, this whole idea of getting personal. So you want to think about not just encouraging your people to make these personal invitations. You want to encourage them to be praying about it. Praying about who is it that God is laying on your heart during this time that you can invite to come and experience this alternative community we call the church, to hear the gospel of Jesus, to hear the message of Jesus coming to earth and being born on Christmas. Like, who is it that God's laying on your heart? Encourage them to be praying about that. Encourage them to invite that person. But you can't just leave it there, because what we found time and time again as a pastor, and I know tons of pastors as I travel the country, talk to pastors, they say the exact same thing. You can announce all you want on a Sunday morning or a Saturday evening worship gathering. You can announce all you want. Hey guys, don't forget to invite your friends to our, Christmas Eve candlelight worship, or to our, Advent series, our weekly Advent series, or whatever it is. You can say it all you want, but if you don't really give them something tangible, put something in their hands, they're less likely to actually make that invitation. So you want to think about, how is it that you get something into their hands, right? And so invitation cards of some sort, flyers, some sort of invitation that you get into your people's hands, and then you say, hey guys, your job this week is to get rid of this, right? And not throw it in the trash can or whatever, or leave it in the foyer, or on your seat on the way out, or just tuck it into your Bible or journal or whatever, but actually use it to invite that family member, that neighbor, that coworker that you're praying for, right? So this idea of personal invitations is huge. And if you, as a pastor, as a ministry leader, if you can really leverage this idea of people praying for who is it in their life that they're personally connected to, and asking God to lay that person on their heart, and then giving them something physical to go and to share and to make that invitation, man, this is going to be awesome when it comes to seeing those new people walk through your doors, because those personal invitations are still the most powerful thing. So be thinking about what tools, what resources you're going to have to put into your people's hands, so they can be inviting. Cool? So prepare for guests, get personal, and then the third thing is focus for effectiveness. Now, this is a big thing because really the month of December tends to be, really from the week before Thanksgiving through New Year's is just chaos for most people. And it's because there's so many things going on in our lives. So me, I have 6 kids, right? So Christmas season for me is a bazillion school events, right? School programs, all those types of things. Over the years, I can't tell you how many school events I've been to lovingly support my awesome kids. So so if families, they have these things, they have these school events and all these types of things. And it seems like every whether it's a band or choir or orchestra or theater or whatever, all of them have something. So if you have multiple kids involved in multiple things, guess what? You have a lot going on. So you have all of that just kind of family stuff happening. Then you have office parties or, events going on at work, because most workplaces celebrate Christmas in some way and they want to, celebrate their employees. So you have those going on. So, a family, think about it. You have kids, you have a husband and wife might both be working. They might have 2 separate office parties. Then you have shopping, right? To celebrate Christmas, you have all those things, decorating, shopping, baking, all that fun stuff. You have the whole idea of if you have company or family coming to your home, you're getting your home all ready, or if you're going to travel and go visit grandma and grandpa or whatever it is. So all of these things are going on during the Christmas season. And so as a church, you really want to focus in on how are you going to connect with the community. And if you can focus, you'll be much more effective. What we see time and time again is churches that decide, hey, we're going to do a bazillion things during Christmas, right? We're going to have a youth thing, a children's thing. We're going to have a men's ministry thing, a women's ministry thing. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Having a zillion different things going on does not help at all. It does a few things. One, it can be a weight or a burden on the people who are already part of your church, right? Because they have families, they have events going on for Christmas, they have things happening, so they're being pulled in a million different directions. And then you toss a zillion extra church things going on during that time too, just going to pull people all over the place. So, and then you're really going to have trouble connecting with people in the community because, like I said, it's a very busy time. So what we recommend is really, really focusing in, sitting down, praying, talking through with your team and say, okay, what is it that we are doing this Advent, this Christmas season to really worship Jesus Christ, to help people develop as disciples, to reach people in our community, because Christmas is the time that you can really, really reach people who aren't a part of a church, who don't know Jesus as Lord, right? So how can you focus that in? How can you get your team saying, okay, these are the few things that we're going to do and we're going to do them well, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think what the biggest thing, I have so many churches, pastors, administrative teams that I work with, and I think the biggest mistake that I see during the Christmas season is they're just focusing on that Christmas Eve service, when in reality, at least for everyone I know, we are pumped for Christmas. I've been waiting for this all year. I'm ready. I'm not ready, but I'm ready for some gifts. I'm ready for some family time. I'm ready for a good service and a good message. Don't focus just on that Christmas Eve service. There's so much opportunity. I start listening to Christmas music in October, but many people say you should start, after Thanksgiving. So if you're talking after Thanksgiving up until that Christmas Eve service, there's so much to plan there. There's so much opportunity. Don't sell your planning strategy short to just promoting that Christmas Eve service.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of churches say, hey, okay, we'll do Christmas Eve, and because we do Christmas Eve every year. And so it's just kind of, okay, that's what we'll be doing. But there's really this whole opportunity through the Advent season, really, to kind of build towards Christmas. So we'll talk about that in just a minute because it's super, super cool. So remember, focus for effectiveness. You want to have like a central theme that everyone's moving together on in your church, right? So yes, exactly. You want to be very, very intentional, because the more intentional you can be, the more focused you can be, and the more people can rally around it. Where again, if they're being pulled in 50 billion different directions, you're not going to get as much traction overall, and you won't have the opportunity to build as many relationships. So focus for effectiveness. Number 4, over communicate to really connect. Now, this is one of those things that I'm sure, Rebekah, you say this time and time and time again to pastors that you're working with on a daily basis. I know I share this all the time. This idea, you can never really over communicate. So if you're thinking about what you're doing at your church in the Christmas season, you've got it kind of dialed in, you have your theme, you have a focus, you're going to be doing these few things during the Christmas season, not a ton of things, but just a handful of things that are just really going to be focused. You want to communicate those more than you think you need to. So you want to communicate those. In fact, research shows that you need to have 7 times your message needs to reach someone in order for them to really take action. 7 different touches. So 7 different times that someone needs to hear that message. So if you're thinking about, if you have a Christmas event, a community Christmas event, and you want people to be there, you've got to think about how are 7 different ways that we can connect with people so that they can hear that message, so that they will come and be part of it. Or if you're inviting them to your Advent sermon series, for the weeks during Advent leading up to Christmas, or your Christmas Eve worship gathering, whatever that is, you need to over communicate that. So Rebekah, you work with pastors every single day, so share with us just a few things, some different ideas, because we need to get 7 touches. What are some different ways that pastors and churches can kind of communicate this message to people?
Well, there's a few. We live in a very digital world lately, so I'll start with kind of the things that are a little more on the low cost side. That really doesn't cost anything. And one, that's word of mouth within the church. We talked earlier about getting personal and equipping your congregation to invite people. When you give them something tangible that goes along with that Christmas theme, that's a touch. That's going out into the community. That's going outside the church walls, which is essentially what we need to do. There's outdoor signage. You have an entire, what's the word I'm looking for? You have an entire church, a big piece of land that you can advertise on, whether it's a banner. I have some people who will do just a stick-up banner on the windows every season, and that's what they do. They're quite known for that, actually. We also have direct mailers, which I see we have a question here on, do direct mailers really work when you're sending them out to strangers? And the answer is they do, especially with these things like coordinated branding. Things that are easy, like your Facebook page. Almost every church I work with has a Facebook page, and a lot of them use it as like an announcement board and a bulletin board, and that's great. But when you have things that you're posting on there, just little tidbits welcoming in the new week, or see you on Friday, when you get those likes, you can message someone with that graphic of whatever your coordinated branding is and say, hey, I don't mean to bother you. I just wanted to invite you over to our church service for Christmas. We have a lot in store this year. I saw you did a like on our page. Doing little intentional mailings. What I mean by intentional mailings is you have a beautiful card on the front and the back is blank, and maybe going through your visitor's logs and going through and thanks for coming in on this day. We haven't seen you in a while. Want to let you know we have a service coming up on this date this Advent series goes for this long. And a lot of people respond to that when you have that personal handwriting there and you remember, oh, this person noticed I haven't come in yet. And that might be coming at just the right time. So there's a lot of opportunity there. You can do billboards. The newspaper isn't dead. You can do newspaper. There's a lot of opportunity for sure.
Awesome. So lots of things that Rebekah hit on. One, you talked about the invite cards. We talked about that earlier, getting personal. So invite cards, getting something into people's hands. So that's one touch.
Door hangers.
Door hangers, which are awesome, you guys. If you've been on webinars or something before, you know I love door hangers. So door hangers and kind of getting your people together and kind of blanketing your neighborhood on a Saturday morning or whatever. Awesome time to be together, but also to have your people focused outwardly, which is huge. So you get door hangers, invite cards, direct mail, social media. We do lots of social media for churches here at Outreach. All of these different pieces together, your outdoor banners, your billboards, whatever it might be. And something that you might have caught Rebekah had mentioned in there is that kind of that cohesive branding. Like, so whenever you're thinking about what you're doing, you want to kind of have that connectivity so that when someone gets an invite card from a friend at work, and then they go out to their mailbox and they get, there's a direct mail piece, they're driving down the road, they see a billboard or they see a banner, an outdoor banner, or there's a door hanger, that they can connect all of it, right? They see something on Facebook, they can connect it. So super huge to think about those 7 touches. How are the different ways that you're going to do that as a church? As Rebekah said, some of them are very, very inexpensive or free. You know what I mean? When it comes to invite cards are very, very inexpensive. And then basically you're mobilizing all of your people. Right. It doesn't cost you a dime to have your people walk out and talk to people throughout the week. So very, very inexpensive things that you can do. And just a wide range to make sure that you're like hitting multiple channels and multiple touches to help people say, hey, you know what? This church seems to be everywhere in our neighborhood. You know what I mean? And as we're praying for those people, praying that God will just kind of tug at their heart. They get that mailer in their mailbox, and it might just be enough for them to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go check this out. So awesome stuff. So over communicate to really connect. You want to think of all these multiple channels. And I know some of you, I talked to a lot of you guys who do you're like a communications director or you're an administrator at the church, and you're kind of tasked with a lot of the type of things we're talking about right now. And for you, it's oftentimes I hear feedback that it's kind of an uphill battle. You talk to other people, ministry leadership, and they're like, hey, we're just going to do this one thing. I really encourage you to share this webinar with them because it is absolutely true that we need to have multiple touches, multiple channels, multiple contacts in order to really help people come to that place where they get to know kind of you, they get to trust you, and because they see your branding, they see your church's name, different places, they see your Christmas theme, different places, they connect that all together and they say, hey, this might be a place that I want to go check out. So awesome stuff there. So number 5, we talked about preparing for guests. We talked about getting personal, those personal invites, focusing in on just a handful of things over what you're doing, your theme for your Christmas season. Over communicate to really connect. And then the 5th thing is crescendo to Christmas. That's pretty fun, isn't it? I made that up, crescendo to Christmas. Anyways, crescendo to Christmas. So basically, we want to build up to Christmas, and this is why I love Advent. So Advent for my family over the years has been absolutely huge for my church family as a pastor and for my personal family, and just the way that we prepare ourselves to celebrate Christmas Day. So the whole idea is that you can build up to Christmas. Again, we talked a little bit about this. Sometimes we just do Christmas, or just do Christmas Eve. And we think, hey, it's Christmas Eve, so we're going to do something. Sure, everyone will show up. It'll be a big thing. But you want to kind of build to that. And the cool thing is that the Christian calendar, it's designed that way. The Advent season, 4 Sundays prior to Christmas Day, is the season of Advent. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's part of the Christian calendar. In fact, we think of our calendar starting January 1, right, every year? Well, the Christian calendar actually begins with the first Sunday of Advent. And basically, Advent is that time of preparation and reflection and anticipation, expectation of the arrival of Jesus, right? So the birth of Jesus on that first Christmas morning, and then we think ahead to the coming of Jesus when Jesus comes again. So it's a super awesome time that's just built right into the flow of the Christian year. And so take advantage of Advent. More and more churches, more and more families have some Advent traditions that they're celebrating. So you might think of, maybe your church does an Advent wreath with candle lighting. So you light a candle every week of Advent. And then oftentimes light a Christ candle on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. That's something you can do at home as well with your family. We do that at our house every year. But it's just a great way to think through. Again, we're not trying to overcomplicate things. We're not trying to toss in a bunch of more stuff. Again, we're trying to be focused, but it can be this intentional focus that grows and builds as you lead up to celebrating the birth of Christ. So super awesome. So think about and talk with your team about what are some ways that we can really live into that Advent season and really kind of help our people walk and help our community walk, into an ever deepening and more meaningful time as we head into Christmas. So, and with that, I want to talk to you about super cool resource, because at our home, I mentioned we do Advent every single year, and we do family worship. So I mentioned I have 6 kids. We've done this ever since they're little, and we have family worship throughout Advent. So every day in the evenings, we gather around our table, and we have an Advent wreath with candles, and different of the kids, they read the scripture passage or read a devotional about Advent. We light the candles, we have prayers. It's just a great, beautiful time. And so one of the cool things that we have here at Outreach is we have developed this God with Us Advent devotional. This is a super cool way for you as a pastor, as a ministry leader, to really equip your people and help your people, as I said, live into that Advent season and prepare their hearts for Christmas Day. So it's a 30-day devotional. It's based on the Advent themes, hope, love, joy, and peace, right? It's written to be used by families. You can use it in small groups at your church. If your groups get together, individuals can use it. You can commit to hang out with a friend throughout Advent and meet for coffee maybe every morning before work or before school and go through the devotional. Super awesome book. Really encourage you guys to look into this, because it's just a great way to, again, build that crescendo towards Christmas. You can also use it. A lot of our churches use these books. We've had these in past years for Advent. Use these as
gift books.
Gift books, exactly. So guest comes in first week of Advent, second week of Advent, comes in Christmas Eve, doesn't matter. You can give them one of these books because it's still meaningful stuff that they can read through and go through. So you can use these as gifts for guests or new people who come into your church. Super awesome. And there's a sample that you can get a sample chapter, take a look at it at outreach.com/GWU-book, GWU, God with Us, GW. Get it? So anyways, and we'll have other links up later as we kind of close down and work through some of this stuff. In fact, we have tons of other really cool free things for you. So in fact, I'll tell you about how you can get some of these free too. So just hang in. Awesome things. So that crescendo to Christmas, really looking at how can we do worship, how can we encourage families or couples or small groups or a college group to come together and really kind of live into that Advent season. Beautiful stuff. I absolutely love it. So awesome things. We are going to really share with you now. We've talked about some really great strategies. One of the things we love to do here at Outreach is, we're all about the local church. We're all about helping to equip churches to reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's what we do day in and day out, and we approach it very prayerfully, very thoughtfully, and it's something we love to do, right? We love the local church. We love pastors. And so with this Advent season, one of the things we try to do is do a lot of the heavy lifting, right? We realize that not every church has a videographer on staff or a graphic designer or, a writer who's able to write a devotional book or whatever it is, right? So what we try to do is we prayerfully think of a theme, and we plan all around that theme. And for this year, 2018, our Advent theme is God with us. Very, very appropriate. And so we have all kinds of cool things for them. And so I'm going to toss it over to Rebekah because she's talking with pastors day in and day out, as I said, about what it means for your church to really celebrate. And so we have some awesome resources here for you to jump right in. So Rebekah, you want to kind of talk us through a little bit of these things and kind of what we have going on here with God with us?
Yes, so God with us, as we talked earlier about your wonderful alliteration, crescendo to Christmas. That is basically that's what we're going with God with us. For a lot of you joining the webinar, you've done a lot of our church kits before and have been happy with them. And you notice with God with us, with a lot of the colors that we have with this, it's on theme. I mean, the thing that we keep hammering down is theme and coordinated branding. And that's what we kind of wanted to go with God with us. So it is a 5-week Advent, including the Christmas Eve service. You're going to get a ton of different tools to really prepare you. We talked about being intentional with your branding, with your theme, with your meetings, with your admin. For your marketing, and there's a planning guide included in there. There's also a sermon series in there. There's PowerPoint slides, which are really, really amazing. That's something that every church uses nowadays, I think. Hopefully no one's using it overhead anymore. I don't know if that's still...
Maybe.
But tons of there. Let's see here.
So, and the kind of the heart behind the kit, right, is that, as I said, churches not all churches have all the resources that some of the really, really big churches have, right? So we really want to help simplify this whole process for you so you can focus on those things as a pastor, as ministry leaders that you really need to focus on, building those relationships, preparing your sermons, getting into the community. So we try to simplify that whole process for you to really kind of help this really busy season that you're in the midst of, to help you and your team have, as Rebekah mentioned, that very intentional kind of pathway that you can walk. There's planning guides and all that fun stuff. Also, as we talk about this idea of working through Advent instead of, like you said, just focusing on Christmas Eve, is it gives your people an opportunity week after week after week to invite their friends or coworkers, family members. They don't have to wait till Christmas Eve, right? So that's a super, super cool thing. And a lot of churches certainly appreciate that. In fact, we've heard many of our churches say that doing the multi-week campaign and then everyone going through the devotional together really builds this sense of unity, right? So it really, really helps your church kind of come together. And again, this idea of being focused, this idea of having a singular theme, this idea of saying, we're all in this thing together and we're making our way toward Christmas, really builds that unity, which is absolutely beautiful.
And that also, it really connects to what we talked about earlier as well. One of the things to focus on is preparing for guests. Well, the God with Us theme comes in many different shapes and forms, different ways to decorate, different ways to set that theme. It's very, very Christmassy without being all about presents. I mean, what I love about the God with Us kit is that, one, there's flexibility. So if you're one of those pastors where you're not always by the book, most pastors are like this, I think, where you have to have your own spin on something. That's why you have a congregation, because God speaks to you in a special way that he doesn't want to do through anyone else. There's a reason why you're there. So one of the things with the God with Us kit that we wanted to do this year is that it's intentional, but it's also very flexible. So when that person walks in, before they can even hear you speak, they get a feel of that Christmas theme. You're prepared for them, and there's like I said, there's that Christmas feel without the red and the green and ornaments. It's not too cheesy. It's all what Christmas is really about, which is what typically we want to talk about in our Christmas Eve services.
Yeah, that's awesome, because one of the things that it's just an ongoing conversation for all of us as Christ followers, when it comes to Christmas, is the over-commercialization of Christmas.
Right.
And so we as a ministry, we as pastors, we as churches, we want to really you know, remind everyone and direct everyone and refocus everyone to what Christmas is really truly all about. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's awesome stuff. So as we said, so it's this 5-week series walking through the 4 weeks of Advent, or rather 5 services, I guess, the 4 weeks of Advent, and then Christmas Eve happens to be on a Monday. Christmas Eve, I hear, is December 24th this year, which is kind of a cool thing. That's just a little joke. It's always December 24th. But anyway, it's a Monday this year. So it's going to be right after the final week of Advent. So you have the 4 weeks of Advent, starting December 2nd through December 23rd, and then Christmas Eve on Monday the 24th. So we have all 5 weeks of those. Kind of gives you the, as you said, we'll get into like a lot of the nitty gritty of what's in there, but stuff for every single week. And here's where we get into the nitty gritty. So we have a bunch of customizable graphics for you. We have 9 videos, right? You want to talk about some of this stuff? Because you know this stuff. You talk to pastors all the time about this.
Yeah, so we have tons. In all of our church kits, we try to, like you said earlier, not every church is going to have a videographer. Not every church is going to have a social media expert, though there might be a few teenagers in your youth ministry that can give you a pointer or two. So we really wanted to give you guys an event planning guide and a church kit that's very intentional in your planning. So we have the 5 customizable sermons, and we got a lot of feedback that you wanted some samples, so we do have a downloadable sample. I'm sure we'll have that link up for you. We have some kids ministry stuff here as well, and some freebies available that Jason will talk about later. We have the PowerPoint slides. There's bulletin inserts that you can download and print. A coupon book that has amazing savings in there, the free devotional book that we've talked about, sample promo tools, so a lot of the things that we talked about with those 7 touches. There's a sample door hanger in there, sample invite card, and a sample postcard that we'll get into as well.
Awesome. So inside that physical church kit, you get all this stuff, right? And everything that you really need, you and your team need to really put together this Advent season, really to maximize this opportunity to reach more people in your community and introduce them to Jesus. So super cool stuff, all kinds of stuff packed in there. Our team works hard, diligently to put it all together, to make it happen, and to, again, simplify the process for you as a pastor so you can focus on what you need to focus on, you know, preparing your messages, meeting with your people, getting in the community. So awesome.
And we also have, just to reiterate, we do have a free devotional book in there. So before you order, a big stack of them for whatever visitors you might have or for your small group, in that kit you will get a free devotional book. And we also have the kit available digitally. So you can have it, you download it, and as soon as you get your receipt, it's right there in your email and you can download that as well.
Awesome. So, and of course with the digital kit, you wouldn't get,
right.
Wouldn't get the book because we can't digitally send that through the computer.
So the digital kit is, the benefit is that you get it right then and there, but you won't have those samples available for you.
Awesome. Good stuff. Now, what I want to do is share with you, and Rebekah and I were talking about this earlier, we absolutely love this. This is one of the 9 videos that you receive as a part of the God With Us Church Kit. And we wanted to take the time to actually share this video with you because it's super, super powerful. And this just gives you a taste of really what our team puts together for you in these kits and these campaigns, not just for Advent, but for our other campaigns that we do throughout the year. So I want to give you a taste of this. So hold on, let me get this.
We say that Jesus is the reason for the season. We say that Christmas is not about the presents, but try selling that to a 7-year-old. I mean, let's just be honest. Nothing can pollute the atmosphere of a Christmas morning like a really bad gift. I mean, you have that sense of anticipation. You've waited all year, and then it's just a big letdown. I come from a long line of bad gift givers, so this has kind of become second nature for me. Christmas of '97, my aunt gave me a watch. Great gift. But when I thanked her for it, all she said was, uh-oh. She explained to me that the watch was for Chris on the other side of the family. When I was 16 years old, my mom gave me a floor lamp. A floor lamp. Like, what 16-year-old boy is walking into his nasty laundry-covered bedroom saying, the lighting in here is just not quite right. But the mother of all bad gifts came to me when I was 8 years old, Christmas 1986, at my grandparents' farm. They were successful farmers and had a long track record of giving awesome gifts. So here we are, Christmas morning. Grandma brings out the best and final gift, the big one. My little 8-year-old heart is just pounding. I mean, this is my Christmas. I rip through the paper, open the top, I look inside, and I'm stunned. You should know, my grandparents were very resourceful. Grandma would can food from their garden. She repurposed milk cartons. She'd save old jeans just for their fabric. So I peered into the box just a second time just to confirm that what I was seeing really was a handmade quilt. Apparently, Grandma had taken some of Grandpa's old jeans and combined that with some recycled kitchen curtains that were fruit-themed. And this quilt was just a marvel. It had bananas and apples and little grape clusters just for a pop of color. A quilt? A stinking quilt? Are you kidding me? What am I going to do with the quilt? I'm 8. But after I had some time to think about it, that's when I cried. That's when I really broke down, I just remember the next day packing up the van and we were leaving. I just felt so let down, and I was just wallowing in my own self-pity the entire trip home. I mean, I was warm, but a funny thing happened as the months and years went by. I started to fall in love with that blanket. It became my bedspread, my traveling blanket, my house blanket, my watching football blanket. I used it so much that it became tattered and worn. The once bright red backing faded to a light pink on one side, fruit and jeans on the other. But I didn't care. I used it every day. And somehow the mother of all bad gifts turned into the best gift I ever got. But when I first peered into that box, I couldn't see the years of joy that blanket would give me. I'd completely undervalued what I'd been given. And today, when I look at that crazy jean and fruit blanket, it reminds me that there's another gift that, quite frankly, I've undervalued. The gift of Jesus. The most undervalued gift in the history of mankind. His hope, his joy, his peace, his love has come to us as a gift. But is it real to me? Am I really experiencing it? Are you really experiencing it? Are we just so caught up in the craziness and distraction of the season that incredible gift has faded off into the background somewhere? I pray today finds me able to cherish both the unexpected gift of that first Christmas and the promise of Jesus being always with us now. That his hope, love, joy, and peace would be even more clear to me than ever. I pray the same for you. God is with us. Merry Christmas.
Awesome, great stuff. Love that video.
So good.
That's just an example of what you'll find inside the kit. So powerful things, just to really help you, again, have the best Christmas season ever at your church and really reach a lot of people. So we're going to jump into some of those invitational promotional tools that we talked about. Rebekah mentioned that samples of these are in the physical kit. If you order that physical kit, you can see the samples themselves. But Rebekah, why don't you walk us through some of these different ways that churches can make those 7 touches that we were talking about. And these are all built on and designed on this theme, God with Us. So go ahead and walk us through this.
Great. So the first one we have here is our direct mailer. This is the one pictured here is our typical size, our most popular size that pastors do. So that is, as you can see here, it's customizable. So you can see on the front here, you're invited to experience God with Us at church name. Your text, what's great about outreach is that we know that every church is different because all of us are different. So it's completely customizable. It's a 5.5 by 8.5 card, so it still sticks out. We have other sizes available as well if you want to contact your outreach specialist. But what's great about our size cards with our direct mailers is that they still stick out in the mailbox. No matter what size you do, that will be available on the website. So we also have an 11 by 5.5 available for that. We have different types of mailers where you can do demographic. You can dive in and be very specific. Or if you want to reach the whole community, your outreach specialist can go through with you on which mailing routes you want to reach out to based on different overall demographics, like the percentage of homes with children, things like that. And then as we go internal within the church walls, we do have plenty of indoor banners at a bunch of different materials. We have vinyl, we have fabric, different types of vinyl, so you do want to take a look at those. We have outdoor banners, so we have flag banners that are really super amazing. They're great quality. What we do at Outreach is we're based on ministry here, so what we give to you, it's because we believe in it. So I personally love our indoor and outdoor banner signage. You want to do that indoor coordinated with outdoor, again, hammering in that theme. Door hangers, as Jason loves. We have those customizable, and you can also order them stock. So both of those are available for you. We even have, we'll talk a little bit later about engagers, which a lot of you did for our Back to Church campaign. And we even have we have oversized door hangers that are really companions to our engager invitations as well. You can view those on the website. And then if you're looking to equip your congregation, as we suggested, we have invite cards at multiple different sizes, medium and large, that you can use as well. Again, completely customizable, or you can order stock.
Awesome. So a lot of different resources that our designers have put time and energy into to give you this theme around your Christmas season, God with Us. And those banners, indoor, outdoor banners, direct mail cards, invite cards, door hangers, all those different things. And as Rebekah alluded to a little bit earlier, there are things that we do kind of outside the box as well. We do social media stuff, which is super important. So if you have questions about that, feel free to contact Outreach Specialist or go on to outreach.com. You can chat with a specialist there. We also do, I know for some of your churches, you do billboards. So you've explained that we can take the same kind of God with Us theme, or if they design a postcard, our team can take and create that in such a way that it can be delivered to the vendor who manages the billboards and have that designed. Or newspaper ads you've talked about with lots of churches, they want to do newspaper ad. So our team can take all these different components, the information that you want to share, and design and get that all put together to the specs that the newspaper or the magazine, local magazine or whatever it is, needs. So there are lots of products that we have that you'll see regularly. Like all of our banners and all those things that a lot of you have been with us for a long time know that we can do. But don't hesitate to talk to Rebekah or your outreach specialist about other things you're thinking about, because chances are we've done it for a church somewhere, and we'd be happy to assist you and help you do that. So that's just us trying to, again, we have a heart for local church and pastors and for ministry, and so any way that we can be of help, we want to do that. So how do you get started? You can go to outreach.com/advent, and there you can type in your email address, and it'll get you started in kind of this whole process. So the church kit is $89.95, which is a great price for everything you get. Remember, you get those 9 videos. They're all brand new videos for this Advent season, this Christmas season. The 5 sermons that you can customize. That kids curriculum, which I love. I've seen it. It's awesome stuff that we put together for the kids curriculum. So many different elements delivered to you, to your church, $89.95. And if you order that, you're going to get some bonuses, because those of you who know me know I love to give things away. So you get some free stuff. You order the kit, you're going to get 10 of these Advent devotional books, these gift books, absolutely free. We're going to send 10 of them out to you for free. So you order the physical kit, we're going to give you 10 of these free, and then as Rebekah mentioned, you can get the Engager invitation. So you get 500 free Engager invites. These are awesome. If you haven't got Engagers yet for your church, we really encourage you guys to look into them. We have literally helped churches with millions of these Engager invitations over this past year. Millions that they put into their people's hands, and it just gives an opportunity for them to enter into a spiritual conversation with a coworker or a friend. It's an awesome tool, and we're giving you 500 of these absolutely free when you order the church kit. Why? Because we want to help you have an amazing Christmas season. So 10 free gift books, 500 free Engagers to help mobilize your people as they're reaching into your community, inviting people. So check that out, church kit $89.95. When you go to outreach.com, or outreach.com/advent, sorry. When you go to outreach.com/advent, again, you'll input your email address, and you're going to get absolutely free before you purchase anything. This is how much we love to give stuff away. Before you purchase anything, you're going to get all of this absolutely free. You're going to get a free video. What is Advent? Super awesome video. You're going to get an Advent preparation guide, right? It really helps your church people make Advent meaningful. I wrote this guide and put a lot of information in there about that family worship time and what that can look like. And it's something that you can use to help your people. Remember, we talked about that crescendo to Christmas? Help your people, again, really engage in the Advent season. So you'll get that Advent preparation guide. You're also going to get 10 free graphics for the web and social media. So free graphics, we're just going to send these to you, right? You can use them any way you want to on your social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, wherever. Post them up, put them on your website, all that great stuff. And then we're also going to give you a free activity booklet for kids. So fun activities to keep kids engaged and excited about the Advent season, about Christmas. So all of these things, mind you, we're giving you absolutely free. No purchase of anything is required. Just share your email address with us because we're going to send it as a download link. So we need that email address, obviously. And you'll have access to all of these great things. And then once you see that, you'll have the opportunity to order the church kit. Again, $89.95, and we're going to give you more free stuff. Don't forget the 500 free Engagers and the 10 free devotional books. So that's a super awesome way for you guys to really get started, really get engaged, and really get going with your Advent season. Get started for free. Go to outreach.com/advent, throw in your email address, and you're instantly going to get those downloadables coming your way. So awesome stuff, super exciting things. Now, we've talked a lot, we've shared a lot. I think we've answered probably a lot of questions already. We've had some questions come in, but if you have additional questions, feel free to click that Q&A button. Click that Q&A button and just type in your question. And we're going to spend just a few minutes here because, again, we want to respect your time. So we're going to spend just a few minutes answer your questions. If we don't get to your question, then Rebekah or someone on her team will be happy to follow up and answer that question for you, right? So I know we have a question about direct mail. People asking, is direct mail meaningful? Is it useful? One of the big things that we like to say is yes, direct mail continues to be useful. In fact, it's on an upswing right now as far as the effectiveness of it, because a lot of churches and a lot of even outside the church world, just in other industries, moved away from direct mail whenever everything was going digital. Everyone got so excited, said digital's the answer to everything, and went all in. But direct mail is still very, very effective for reaching new people. It is the only way that you can reach every household in your neighborhood or in your community. I've had many conversations with the pastors who, in their neighborhood around their church, there might be a gated community, there might be an apartment complex, with tons of families in there, but they're unable to go into the apartment complex and go hang door hangers or visit people. They can't go through into the gated community, right? You do social media advertising, which we love and which we do, and we help churches do, so be happy to help you with that. But you do social media advertising, and you're not guaranteed to hit every home, obviously. It's just whoever happens to see that ad. So with direct mail, you hit every household. So if you're really looking to engage the entire community, let them know you're there, let them know you care about them, direct mail is effective. Now, what we do say is you don't want to do just direct mail and nothing else.
Right.
right? You need to, like we talked about those 7 touches, you need to be thinking about how do you build around that direct mail campaign.
Right.
And you need to be consistent with direct mail. So a lot of churches do direct mail one time and they're like, well, I don't know, it really didn't do much. Well, there are tons of churches that we talk to that do direct mail every quarter, right? And they do direct mail every quarter, and they are known in their community as the neighborhood church, right? People come and visit them, after they've received 6 different postcards, because lots of times a crisis happens in someone's life or something's going on, right? So,
and I also find that direct mail is the most effective when you're very intentional with your direct mail. So when you're choosing a design, whether it's on our website or whether you have a graphic designer on staff who can do all of that for you, that's great. But when you're choosing the design, you need to have your community in mind. So who am I trying to reach with this direct mailer? What kind of family am I trying to reach? Am I trying to reach that young millennial in their early 30s who has those young kids? Or am I trying to reach an older family? Am I trying to reach the ones who are agnostic, a lukewarm Christian? Or am I trying to reach unbelievers altogether? You want to be very intentional with the designs that you're choosing, and also very intentional with the mailing routes that you're choosing. And those are all things that you can do. We're all trained on that here at Outreach. So those are all things that you can discuss with your outreach specialist. And like I said, we really can't say it enough. You have to be coordinated in your branding. So what you have as your direct mailer, have that outdoor banner, have that, almost all of our cards, you can ask at no extra charge to you for a low resolution image to be emailed to you shortly after you place your order. And you can use that on your website, on your Facebook. And just expanding on that, don't let Facebook be just a bulletin board. Really interact with people with those free things that you can get on outreach.com/Advent. Those free graphics, those likes you get, like I said earlier, shoot them a message from the church account, have that little graphic there and say, hey, thanks for liking our page, or thanks for liking our graphic. Just wanted to say that our service is at this time on this day, and we hope to see you, and we can't wait to do so. We did get another question here, the best way to use gift books. You love our gift books, I know you do. I personally see it mostly used as a free gift. So a lot of with the direct mail or invite cards, they say, bring this card in for a free gift. And you are able to kind of have, I wouldn't recommend having just the gift book, have something sweet in there. Especially coordinated with Christmas, like a hot chocolate packet or a candy cane, things like that. Gift books are really valuable in that way. And then also, like you said, for your small groups, it can be you can equip some of your church members with them as well.
Yeah, so with the gift books, one of the things that we see is most effective, actually within the church, great idea that Rebekah shared about, if you actually put on your direct mail piece, hey, bring this card in, you get a free gift. That's super helpful. The other thing is, in your worship gathering, Sunday mornings, Saturday nights, whenever you have your worship gathering, you greet, guests, newcomers and that sort of thing. And usually, I encourage every pastor to have some way to collect contact information, right? Simple contact card, right? Because you want to be able to follow up with them. The whole idea, we're called to make disciples. To make disciples, we have to build relationships, right? So we want to be able to connect with these people. So oftentimes, what we do is we'd say, hey, listen, we have a free gift for all of our guests. So if you'll just bring your contact card back to Guest Central, or, in the lobby, in the foyer, we have a table there. We'd like to welcome you, get to know you a little bit better. We have a free gift for you. And then you can have that free gift book there for them. So they come, you get to introduce yourself to them, have some people from your team there, whether it's staff or some key volunteers, and just welcome them and give them that gift. So that book is a good way to do it. Some churches actually take the gift books and they will do like kind of saturate their neighborhood. So they might take like a couple blocks around the church or a few blocks around the church, and they'll take the engagers and the gift book and some other information about their church. And like you said, packet of hot cocoa or whatever it might be, put it in a little gift bag. And then they'll get together on a Saturday morning with the team, which again, I love, right? Get together, have some donuts, everyone's split up. You take those bags and you just take them door to door and just share them with people. And there's obviously invitations to come to your church. So just a few different ways that you can use the gift book. How we doing? We have probably one more question that we can take, and then again, we want to respect your time. We're going to wrap up. So we have a question here in regard to multicultural. If you're in a multicultural community, what are some of the most effective ways to kind of reach that community? It's a great question. We know a lot, especially in urban areas, a lot of multicultural areas, multi-ethnic areas, right? So you want to, I think, really get to know your community and understand your community, those different ethnicities. You don't want to make assumptions about them, but you want to get to know who they are, where they congregate, and what they value, and then think about how you can connect with them. One of the things that you can do, again, through reaching those households is, again, is kind of getting out there and doing it. The door hangers, getting out and introducing yourselves. Saying, explaining that you're from the church down the road. It doesn't matter what ethnicity someone is. That personal touch is often super, super important, regardless. So you want to kind of one of the things that we see a lot of churches do. They kind of say, "Hey, we live in a multi-ethnic community. So here are some ideas we've come up with to try to reach them." That's probably not the best way. The best way is you need to get to know them first. So what I have often done, or have done it with every single church I pastored actually, is that you go and speak with the school principals or counselors nearby in that same community, because they'll have a good understanding about the families in that community. So you can gain some information from them, some different things. But then, I tell you what, just general outreach is what it is. Like I said, you go out there, you connect with people, you get people from your church with smiles on their faces, going door to door, saying hello. You do a community event, around Christmas, and invite people into your church. But again, you just need to kind of learn what that particular community, how can you build a bridge into that particular community? It's mission work is what it is, really, right? Understanding that culture, and then how can you connect?
Right. And I get that question a lot, especially from small churches who don't have that big budget that a lot of bigger churches have, obviously. And what I always say is that your congregation is the second best tool that you have when it comes to marketing your church. The first, of course, is prayer, but your congregation these are people who, especially in a church of 30, these are people who are probably extremely tight-knit, who love each other, who love God, and who want to love on others. So by really equipping them by things like our Engager invitations that are 100% free with that church kit, by using those things, by equipping your congregation and going out not only to just the communities around, but connect with some local businesses. It's all about, just like in business, it's about networking. It's about networking within your community and making those connections and establishing those connections with the people around you. So really equip the people who already love your church and love God, and equip them to show how much they can love on others as well.
Awesome. Good stuff. Now, I kind of sneak this in accidentally, but for those of you who hung out to us at the very end, we want to announce a super cool thing we have going on. Super, super awesome. We're super excited about this. It's super cool. It's a free LED light, and you get a free LED light with an indoor banner purchase through November 9th. So, and this is every indoor banner that you purchase, you get a free light for. So we have something like you can see there. We have some with all the different themes for Advent. We have, different triptychs, different sets of banners. So if you have a 4 banner set, you'll get 4 free LED lights. And these uplights really kind of bring life to your banners.
Make it really festive.
Yeah, festive. That's the word we're looking for. Very festive for the season. So it's super exciting. We're pleased to offer those to all of you guys for free. So you can go to outreach.com/free-LED and get more information on that. Or you can talk to your outreach specialists. They're obviously ready to help you on that. So another super cool bonus. I love giving away stuff. It's one of my favorite things. So any way that we can help you and your church, and man, we're praying for you guys. Excited to be here with you. Excited to be resourcing your churches. Excited to be listening to your stories and celebrating along with you. We look forward to hearing some awesome stories in regard to what your church does to impact your community this Christmas season. So thank you so much, Rebekah, Jason, and we just thank you for being with us. God bless you all.